Tank's hand was already in the air when I decided I was done playing small. The bar smelled like tire smoke and spilled whiskey, neon buzzing like a hornet nest over a dented jukebox. His boys were laughing boots on chairs, knuckles wrapping the table like a countdown. I didn't blink. I just watched that palm cut through the light toward my cheek and thought, nah, not tonight. I shifted a half step, caught his wrist, torqued it like a gate hinge, and the big man folded. Tank King of the Chrome Pony kissed the sticky floor while a dozen mouths snapped shut at once. You really want to do this? I asked him quiet enough that only the ones closest heard. The room held its breath. For the first time all night, I was the loudest thing in it. You don't walk into a place like that by accident. My name's Jordan Hale. On paper, I sell commercial alarms. In real life, I hunt patterns money that moves wrong folks who move like they own fear. Redwood Ridge is where I grew up and where I learned fear has a smell, cheap cologne over oil and ash, the Chrome Pony. It's the kind of bar folks pretend isn't there, out on the outskirts beyond the truck yards, where the county line gets blurry and the law gets lazy. I'd been in for weeks, low profile, eyes open. Tank noticed me tonight because I didn't look away. That's the thing bullies can't forgive. He shook me off and came back taller, jaw hot, voice hotter. Look at me when I talk to you. His breath tasted like a dare. His crew chimed in ugly little jokes that always sound the same, even when you change the zip code. I stared at the bourbon in my glass and counted exits: front door, side hall, kitchen service hatch, and kept my heartbeat on a leash. When he slapped me, it wasn't just skin. It was the town every time someone like me got told go around back, every time a complaint went missing. The room exploded, boots howls, that nasty kind of laughter that loves a stage. My cheek burned, I let it burn. Then the heat moved to my hands. I hit Tank once. Not hard, not wild, clean. He dropped like a cut power line. Chairs flipped, a bottle shattered. Somebody yelled, "Get her," and the whole place turned into a bad parade. The trick in a bar fight isn't being the strongest, it's telling gravity where to help. I let two of them run past and met the third at the knee. Elbow to the jaw, shoulder through a rib pivot. It felt like threading a needle in a hurricane. 10 seconds later, I had a path to the service hatch. I didn't waste it. Cold air slapped me honest. Alley dumpsters, one busted light, strobing the brick. Engines roared to life behind me, the hunt growls bouncing off metal like they'd practiced it. I cut left through a gap in the fence, slid behind a stack of pallets, counted again. My cheek throbbed in time with the Harley idle. I wasn't scared. Okay, I was, but it came dressed as focus. My palm found the canvas pouch at my hip, documents I'd copied from shell companies with cute names and ugly customers. A burner phone, a compact pistol, hugged to the bottom like a last resort. I breathed slow as a church door opening and moved. That night stretched longer than it had any right to. The boys rolled through the neighborhoods like a rumor with headlights. Folks killed their porch lights. Everybody in Redwood Ridge knows the rule. You don't see what you can't afford to name. By the time I made it to my mother's old bungalow, the engines were already circling. Someone tossed a can through my window. Gray smoke crawled across the floor like it knew my name. I learned two things at once. I could cry and not be weak, and I could cough and still make a promise. I called 911. Under attack. Send someone now. 15 minutes later, red and blue washed the alley. I exhaled too soon. Deputy Crowley stepped through my door like he'd been born bored. Cap low, pen loose eyes, doing that lazy math where your pain never adds up to paperwork. They vandalized my home, I said, voice raw from the boss. They marked the walls. They probably kids, he said, writing nothing. Don't wind yourself up. You ever feel a room tilt like you're the only straight picture on a crooked wall? Crowley's shrug gave me the angle I'd been missing. The whispers, the lost reports, the way the Chrome Pony always skated. It wasn't neglect, it was choreography. I stared at him until my eyes cooled. He stared back like I was a nap he didn't get to finish. He left with a promise to circle back. I locked the door behind him and knew it meant forget it. Later, the engines purred again, softer, more private. I slid to the window and watched the end of my block flicker. Crowley walked past the almond tree, crisp as a magazine ad, right up to Tank. They didn't speak long. They didn't have to. Tank pressed an envelope, a fat one, into Crowley's palm, like tipping a valet. Crowley's face did a tiny thing. Gratitude purchase. He tucked it away and buttoned his coat against a wind no one else felt. A neighbor I barely knew. Mr. Ellis lived 2 doors down, took long walks, fed every stray, stood behind his chain link with a phone half hidden in trembling hands. His mouth formed the words, "Oh God," like he was afraid the night would file a noise complaint. He kept filming. I texted Rafael Delgado, my once partner, now my one call. When the room tilts, need a net, got proof, the dots danced, stop started, send everything he wrote. Do not be a hero alone. I laughed, the kind that hurts on the way out. Too late. We built a plan quick and quiet. I encrypted what I had, transactions, route logs, names that slept inside other names, and pushed it to him. He looped in a small federal crew he trusted, like a first coffee, no sugar, no surprises. 1 unit for evidence custody, 1 shadow for me, 1 for warrants. Once the judge saw what we saw, we still needed a clean witness. Mr. Ellis became a thread nobody could afford to drop. Just before dawn, while the paint on my walls was still tacky, my phone lit with a number that looked like static. "Do not touch them," the message said. "You will disappear like the others." I stared at that line until it became a mirror. I saw the girls I'd read about in old files with labels like found and unsolved. The families who moved away quietly because it was the only way to stop waking up when engines idled. I felt small and angry and very alive. "I'm not going anywhere," I said to nobody and everyone. By noon, the street was church quiet. Mr. Ellis knocked with the faintest tap raincoat hood up under a bright skylight. The weather inside him didn't match. He didn't come through the door, stayed on the stoop like my living room was hot lava. His hands shook when he held out a USB. "If they find out I filmed this," he whispered, "I'm done." "You won't be," I said and prayed my voice knew something my brain didn't. We copied the file twice, 1 to Rafe, 1 to a cloud locked behind more passwords than I have cousins. The video wasn't pretty, but it didn't need pretty. It needed true Crowley's hand, Tank's envelope, the half smile 2 men share when they think the world belongs to them. Rafe called. "We've got enough to move. Not today, not loud, but soon. Keep your head down and your phone up." "Down is overrated," I said, and we both let the silence sit a moment, like a shared seat at an airport. People always ask what courage feels like. Truth. It feels like doing the dishes with shaking hands because you need something normal. It feels like checking your locks twice and then checking on your neighbor because you know he's the one who stuck his neck out farther than you. It feels like hearing engines in your dreams and waking up angry instead of scared. By sunset, the block had a pulse. Pulse again. Kids on bikes, a dog offended at a mailbox, somebody grilling something that smelled like forgiveness. I stood on my porch with a bag of trash that didn't need taking out and watched the light go gold across the red paint the boys had sprayed. It dried into a color I didn't hate. I guess even vandalism can look like a banner if you decide the story belongs to you. That night, a convoy rolled past slow unmarked windows, calm radios clicking. Rafe's people, or maybe just my hope wearing a uniform. My phone buzzed, rendezvous set. 2 blocks over. 30 minutes. Bring only what breathes. I laughed softer this time. I took my mother's locket, Mr. Ellis's courage, and the ache in my cheek. Everything else could stay. The house wasn't a prize to protect, it was a witness that could be repainted. On the way I passed the chrome pony, the sign hissed. For a second, I saw myself inside again. Tank's hand, my hand, the note my body made when it refused humiliation. I don't know if that was pride or just relief that the girl I used to be the one who apologized for existing didn't come with me into that bar. Either way, I nodded at the door like we were even. At the corner, a van door slid open. Voices I didn't see said, "Copy, on your go." I handed them a drive and a look that said more than the drive. They gave me a nod and a blanket I didn't want and a bottle of water I did. Behind us, Redwood Ridge kept pretending to be a small town. You could almost believe it if you hadn't seen the handshake. We didn't end the story that night. That's not how stories like this work. But we set something in motion that doesn't stop easily evidence, pulling thread after thread until the sweater that kept certain men warm turns into yarn on the floor. Crowley will call it politics. Tank will call it allegiance. I call it my face in my mother's house and a neighbor who filmed with shaking hands because he still believes in daylight. So tell me, where does right live in your town? Behind the badge or the front window with the curtains open? If you've seen a handshake that soured your stomach, if you've ever been told to go around back, drop your story in the comments. I want to read it. I want others to know they're not alone. Hit like if you think proof beats intimidation, share. If you've ever decided to stop playing small, and subscribe. If you believe we can make noise where silence used to win. Now, what would you have done in that bar